Hi there, Sandra here from Laser Love. Now, for those who are thinking, I've not come across you before, I'm also known as Create in Spain. I set up this YouTube channel simply to separate out the laser part of things because most of the people who follow me on Create in Spain use cutting machines, plotters, not lasers. So what I want to do today is to make a coaster in Xtool XCS. And in order to do that, I'm actually going to use the AI function just to come up with a design. So click on that and we get various options. Now, I'm not doing low relief today. What I decided I was going to do was to use logo designing and cut out logo. Now, no, I'm not doing a logo for a firm or anything like that. I'm just doing a Christmas themed thing. But the idea is very similar, and so that's what I'm going to do. Now, I've already had a bit of a play and I have downloaded a few different items here, as you can see, just to test it out. So I need to type in an image description. So I'm going to go for a polar bear wearing a woolly hat, drinking champagne at a party. I don't have a clue what's going to come up for this. I really do not. Enter the logo that you want, and I want Merry Christmas. And I want the text to go underneath my image, so I will click on that. And I'm just going to do 2 images for the time being and see what comes up, because I have no clue what's going to come up. So let's see what happens and see if they come up with any usable images. Now that's really strange, because if you look at this one, Merry Christmas without the S, and it's Barty or okay. Dislike that one. Are you sure you want to dispose of the image? 4 credits will be refunded. Yeah, okay. So you can either download it or you can import it straight into XCS, which is what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do that. Right, at the moment, a bit on the big side, let's pull that down a bit so it's smaller. It has this background on it as well, which I really don't want. So the first thing I'm going to do is to edit my image, magic wand, take the background away. That is the first thing I'm going to do. Now, I'm just going to leave that as it is for the moment and save it. I could invert it still if the image was suitable. Having said that, with a polar bear is supposed to be white, so I don't necessarily want to make the polar bear dark, but I could. Let's have a look and see what happens if I invert the image. Yeah, it looks a bit weird, so I won't. But there is something that I want to show you on inversion of an image, which is that you will invariably get this fine line around your image. The way to get rid of that is to go to edit, to take the magic wand, get rid of that, and to use the eraser then to completely obliterate this line going around the outside. And I have found in the past that when I kept it there, it was making the design a lot slower to work. Okay, so I'm just going to save that, go back to adjust and invert my image back again. Don't think I really like the image a great deal, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay, it's not doing anything for me. So let's go back into AI, close that one off. It'll be useful for something else, and it would be okay if I did it just like that. But for a coaster, I really don't want to do that much engraving on it. I would prefer it to be a different image. I quite like this Merry Christmas one. So let's open up this one and fit it to canvas. Make it a bit smaller. I will resize it later on. Now, because I got rid of the outside area on this, I've done that already. What I want to do is to crop it because it irritates me that this outside box doesn't fit the actual item. So I'm going to put it into a crop, go for 1:1, and then I'm going to take it from the corner and drag so it's pretty close, and do the same on the opposite corner there. So there we go, and save that. Now again, I would want to invert that. So go to adjust and invert. And you can see this line around here again. So go to edit, magic wand to get rid of the background that I don't want, and use the eraser to get rid of this line and save. So if you didn't like the Merry Christmas, you could change it. You could erase the Merry Christmas and put different text in. Entirely up to you, but it's possible. And you would do that again under the edit mode, and then you could adjust it as you wish. I do want it to be approximately 8.5 centimeters. So come up here and put in 85. There we go. So this is going to have to be resized considerably to go in there. I can make it a bit bigger than that, but it would have to be resized. And I think that's probably about right. Let's just make sure that's in the center horizontally. It actually was, wow. That's quite amazing. And put it down where my laser is now, which is down here. Okay, so next thing I want to do is to switch off the output there. My image has output. Now the reason for that is because when I engrave this, I don't want my air assist on for the engraving. The reason I don't want it on for the engraving is the air assist kind of puffs the dirt over the image, and I don't want that on a coaster with this much detail. It's just going to be a pain in the neck to clean up. Now I'm going to use the basswood setting and see what that comes up with. For the engraving, it's only 1420. Yeah, I can do it faster than that. I'm whacking this up to 70. This isn't random. I have done this before on this type of wood. And I'm going to put the speed up to 200. And I'm going to put the lines up 120. So let's do a distance test. And I can click on start and switch my laser on. Done the engraving here, so now I've switched the engraving off. You can see that says ignored, and I'm going to cut out the circle, so I'm just going to send that to process. Click on start. So here's my coaster, which I'm pretty happy with. It isn't a very dark engrave, but sometimes that just depends on the type of wood. So the other thing I wanted to show you is what can sometimes happen if you have a wood and you have your air assist on. Now I tried to get rid of it by various means, but I didn't quite manage it. This, for whatever reason, even though it's on the same settings, was much darker, just a different type of wood. But I found I had blowback on the left hand side of these buildings. I tried various methods to get rid of it, and yeah, I messed up the coaster in doing that. But the top half of it had the blowback, the bottom half of it, when I switched off the air assist, was perfectly clean. So that's why I switch off the air assist for doing the engraving. Now, one of the things that you can do if you've got a little bit of blowback, get some normal tape and demonstrate on this one, although it's probably not got much left on it. Just put the tape on, really rub it on well and pull off. In fact, you can still see on there some soot's come off, but that will get rid of most of it as long as you don't actually rub it in the first place. If you just put the tape on first and then pull it off, that will get off most. In some cases you might want to mask it before you engrave. With this particular design, no, I wouldn't, because I got all these tiny little pieces and I'd have to try and pick masking tape off after. Ugh. Not a lot of fun. The other thing you might find is that maybe the biggest masking tape you can get, as in my case, is this one, which isn't big enough for a lot of uses without kind of overlapping, and you can tell the difference. If you join tapes, you can sometimes see the mark. So the other thing that I can use, and I will show you, is normal cheap sticker paper. Paper crafters use this kind of stuff to make peel-off stickers. So as you can see, it peels off. And I've actually used this on something to mask it and left it for about a month without pulling it off, and it's still pulled off okay. The advantage of this is that I can get it in A4 sheets, which means pretty much all projects that I'm going to do on what masking on are going to be maskable, and also it's white, so you can actually see it, because trying to see this stuff on pale wood sometimes is really hard, especially if you're doing it in the evening when the lighting isn't perhaps quite as good as it might be. So let's put that one to one side. Working on this one, I'm going to turn it upside down, and I've got some Eileen's Clear Gel Tacky Glue, which I know does what I want it to do. So I'm going to put some of that on the base, and I've cut out a circle of craft foam, just a thin craft foam, to put on the back of this. And as it happens, it's almost the same colour as the wood. This was purely chance. I just happened to have some in that colour. Just going to use a finger to spread this so it's not too thick and bulky. You could use a squidgy or a brush, whatever. Fingers are easily washable. And then just put that onto the back. Press on. Now if you wanted to, you could do an interior offset for this piece. I've cut it exactly the same size as my coaster. And there we have it, coaster done. If you want to, you can seal it either with resin or with varnish, or indeed you can oil it if you have any food safe oils. Those are good if you've got ones for cutting boards. But come to that, if it's a coaster, any kind of oil that you want to use, that you normally use for putting on your woods at home, will do the trick. I will link the file, and there we go. Merry Christmas, everybody.